Hi, I'm Kyle McCauley, and I'm here today to go in-depth with hockey players, coaches, and administrators to find out how they are treating concussions and how they are supposed to recover from them. First off, we're going to start by interviewing Macomb Mavericks defenseman Hunter Bowerson on how he came back from his recent concussions.
In a breakdown sense, right when it happened, I didn't leave my room for a week. I had a whole week off of school. Whenever I had to even go use the bathroom, I had to wear sunglasses and hat just to go 5 feet to the bathroom. But for that whole week, I didn't do too much. Stayed in my room. I slept, honestly, for a whole week. Then after that, I'd say, for the sun hurting my eyes, kind of went away. After that, I started going back to the practices to see the guys, and I started going back to school. And after that, really, it was just, from then on out, it was pretty good. After, I'd say, about 2 weeks of that kind of recovery, and I was back to normal, but not back to playing physical hockey.
All right, so now we've talked to Hunter Bowerson about what his recovery process was. Now we've talked to his assistant coach of the Macomb Mavericks, Blake McCauley, to see what exactly he feels players should be doing and how he feels that players take their concussions when they get them.
When players get back into the game, it has to be a slow process. It needs to be a step-by-step situation. I liken it to having to crawl before you walk and walk before you run. You start with doing light exercise. If you can do the light exercise without having any concussion symptoms, then you can move on to step 2, which would be more strenuous exercise or heavier workouts. And then again, if you can pass that without having any returning symptoms of the concussion, then you can move on to heavier practice and then into gameplay. At any point during this, though, if you start to have the symptoms again, you need to go back to step 1 and start over until the symptoms no longer exist. The types of things players can do to speed up their recovery time include dark rooms, spending time away from screens, and letting their brain function simply slow down and giving their brain and their mind time to heal without trying to make it happen too fast. The importance of the recovery process after a concussion is extremely important in that, as in any other injury, it has to be completed in order to be a success. A lot of times players will try to get back into a game before they're fully recovered, and that usually will tend to be a bad decision.
So now that we've talked to a coach, we're going to go back and talk to another player to compare the different routes to recovery that some of the players will make.
Well, my recovery process started off by, first I went to the doctors and he said no activity, nothing to do with sports, head injuries, nothing. And then he said stay in dark rooms, wear sunglasses when you're not. Also keep curtains closed, try not to use your phones, try not to go on iPad, try not to use Xbox or TV, because you really don't want any light in your eyes, so it damages your brain. And also I kind of just stayed away from people too, because depending on how loud they talk, or say at school there's a lot of noise, it could hurt your head. And yeah, that's really about it. I totally agree that some people try and rush coming back into the game too early. Like, say 2 weeks is your recovery time. A lot of people try and get it done in 1 just because they want to get back out on the ice. The hype of the game and being out there with your friends, it's crazy to be off the ice for 2 weeks with no activities or nothing. When I first got back onto the ice, the only drills I were able to take part in would have to be kind of like upbeat drills, no hitting, more or less moving, a lot of physical activity, just no hitting toward you, no head contact, nothing, and almost staying away from other people on the ice just so you're not accidentally hit or fall or something, just so you don't hit your head and make it worse.
Both major and minor concussions are very serious injuries, but the recovery aspect is even more important. I'm Kyle McCauley, signing off.